Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble while following us on Facebook, or find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for past episodes, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe or follow today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, everybody, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. This is Conscious Radio Network's The Seance Podcast, and this is your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click like, subscribe, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow or listen wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, first, how you doing, Amy?
Welcome. I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. We're joined today with Amy Robeson, a master Akashic Records teacher, light language master, and mentor. Through her work and her platform, Sacred Awakening, Amy helps people unlock their inner potential, receive guidance from the Akashic Records, and live more empowered, aligned lives. She has a gift for breaking down complex spiritual concepts into practical wisdom, guiding her students through transformation, healing, and profound awakening. Let's welcome again, Amy Robeson. You do have an audience.
Love it.
So most people who listen to the seance usually know what the term Akashic Records means, but everybody has their own way of explaining it.
Yes, they do.
So to simply put it, what is your definition of the Akashic Records?
My definition of the Akashic Records, it's a field of infinite possibilities. Every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted, meaning when your soul comes into essence, it is recorded in the Akashic field, and we can open the records to receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of our life, from the past, the present, and the future. So I use them for literally everything.
Now, the concept of the Akashic Records and or when it was coined, not a new thing, but when I haven't done too much research on it, I work with it, which is interesting. A lot of people work with it and don't know it. But as far as your knowledge of the Akashic Records, when the name was coined, and
well, you have to keep in mind that Akash means space in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
I know that Edgar Cayce, what did he call the Akashic Records? I think he called it the Library of the Soul or something like that. Don't quote me 100% on that, but there's different terminology. And I like that you said most people are using the Akash, because a lot of people use the Akash unconsciously, and they don't know that they're receiving downloads from the Akashic field. As far as the history, I think that as like spiritual students and spiritual teachers, sometimes we don't go investigating things because we don't want it to influence our work. For a long time, I was like that because I don't want to have something else come in that will interfere the way that I've been guided to work in the records. And I think that the records are really a beautiful thing, and they're a personal thing. Just like there are many different teachers that specialize in different areas of working with the Akash. There's a woman named Debbie Solaris that does galactic Akashic records, which I think is beautiful. For me, we can go in the galactic, we can go into anything and everywhere within the Akash, the way that I teach it. And then there's some people that just focus only on past lives, or they focus only on a very specific thing within the Akash. And that's the cool thing. You just got to find your people, find your tribe, find your teacher that resonates with the way that you want to work in the records in the way that you want to open the records, because the opening also matters in terms of which way you're going in and the types of information that you can receive because of that opening as well.
Yeah. This journey of yours, how did you discover this field? How did you discover this work? What led you in this direction?
So for me, I have always had prophetic dreams when I was a kid. I started remembering my dreams when I was 1.5. My stepdad was a severe alcoholic. And so I learned very quickly at a very young age how to tune into the energy of my household. Because when you have unpredictable parents, you need to be able to predict what is going to happen. And early on in my life, I would tune in to keep myself safe in some way, shape, or form. And then in my early 20s, I entered a really severe deep depression where I didn't want to be here anymore, which then led me to start receiving downloads as an adult, because as a kid, I always talked to angels, talked to different beings. But as I entered adulthood, I stopped doing that for some reason, because sometimes you just forget what you used to do. And it's usually that kind of stopped when my parents got a divorce. And when I started getting downloads to do yoga, I started following that guidance, which then helped me get out of severe depression. And I went and moved to be with my now husband, cracked my tailbone for the second time in my life.
Jeez.
And couldn't do yoga anymore. Started to slip into really deep depression because I was in a new city. My identity of what I was thinking I was going to do and what I used to do were ripped away. And so I was sitting in a really raw place, and I was like, what do I want to do that I haven't been doing? And who do I want support from? And I found my very first teacher. She was a trance medium like Edgar Cayce, and she gave me a soul reading. I ended up working with her on how to meditate and how to do dream interpretation, how to do mediumship, channeling, all this stuff. And that's where I found the records. And that's where I found the records again, because I'd been accessing the records since I was a kid, but didn't know it until I was an adult when I found them, because I would know things when I was a kid that nobody ever told me. But looking back now, I understand it because we have the language for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there seems to be a lot of talk about it now. It just seems as time moves forward, what I practiced or got into years ago, it's, oh no, can't touch that. It's taboo or stuff like this. But it's growing up, and see if this has happened to you as growing up. I never really talked about the gifts that I had, my abilities. I kept it all to myself. Did you feel that as a child that there was something different, that you wouldn't be accepted with these gifts, or how were you received by your peers?
I grew up in a very open household. My grandma did tarot card readings and astrological chart readings. So she taught me how to do tarot cards when I was like 7.
Wow.
And my mom, my gifts come from my mom's side of the family. And my grandma was my mom's mom. And so my mom was a nurse, and she would have patients that would transition at night, and they would come visit her at nighttime, and she would send them to the light. And when she would go to work in the morning, she would check the chart on what time they transition. And it was always the exact time that they came to visit her at night. And I didn't think this was like an odd thing, because what's normal is normal in your own house, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize until I was an adult, like, I grew up around crystals, and I grew up around tarot cards and all those things. And even my stepfamily was very spiritual, and it was all accepted. Nothing was ever tabooed. So when I stepped into this field of work, and I told my family, no one was like nervous about it. No one was worried about it, which is really nice, because I have a lot of clients that have the complete opposite problem. They're afraid that their family is going to disown them if they share these types of things. And so I think that's the cool thing about all of our upbringings, is we all bring a fresh perspective from how we can approach spirituality, and we choose our family. And so I think it's really interesting. But I think that when we have gifts as kids, because we all have gifts and we all have them, to what degree we share them depends on the environment we're in. And sometimes you might be sharing things and you don't realize that was a gift back then because you didn't have the knowledge of it.
Yeah, it was always an interesting thing that even before I realized it, people would always approach me, ask me questions like spiritual questions or paranormal questions or something like that. I'm like, I never ever talked about that stuff, but they just seemed like I would know.
Yes. Because you have a big sign that says,
Right?
I
Yeah.
know
Right.
everything that you need to know. Just
Right.
come ask me.
That invisible neon sign just
Yes,
glowing.
it's called being an empath, being super sensitive.
Yeah. Now, the work that you do, the shadow work and working with the entities and these dark forces, explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was scared of all that stuff for a really long time. Don't show me a scary movie. I don't want to see that. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to participate with that. And then I realized doing this work and doing healings that I had to get over that really quickly, because people have all sorts of stuff attached to them, knowingly and unknowingly. And when it comes to lower vibrational frequencies, I think that Hollywood makes a really good way of what we think is what it's going to look like. And half the time it doesn't look like that at all. Majority of the time, I should say. And when it comes to lower vibrational frequencies, oftentimes they're not, I'm going to put this in quotations, evil. They're just misdirected. And then there are some really dark vibrational frequencies that are totally breaking spiritual laws and things like that. And so it's important that you have, when you have something nasty like that, you have a skilled healer that knows how to assist in clearing that. Because when we're looking at lower vibrational frequencies, they influence your thoughts. They influence your behaviors. And what they're doing is they're feeding off your fears. And so if you remove it, the chances of you letting go of stress, anxiety, fears, things that maybe you didn't realize that were influencing you, they're going to start to dissipate. They're going to start to disappear. And then shadow work is not the same as an entity. Shadow work is, we all have aspects of our being that were birthed to protect us in one way, shape, or form along our journey. And then that protection, that program from that aspect of our being becomes outdated as we grow and as we evolve. And we got to look at our shadows in order to let go of some of those old programmings, because who got you here to this point is not going to get you to where you want to be. And so we got to let those aspects die. And that's a part of the whole human process, is rebirth and death. And we get to have that experience, and it's emotional and it's hard. And sometimes it's gut wrenching, because there's a part of you, there's aspects of you that did such a brilliant job of keeping you safe. And it feels like you're absolutely going to die, and you are going to die. It's just energetically when you let those parts of you go, but we can still honor them and love them.
Yeah, it's so important to keep our field clean, past, present, future, all around us as we move forward in life on this path. And yeah, getting rid of these things that no longer serve us anymore. There's so many things that we hold on to dear life. I want to keep this. I want to keep. No, it's like, when's the last? Whether it's physical or non-physical, it doesn't matter. I think it's everything too. It's like hoarders. So I was like, why do you have that?
And there's so much that you can unpack with a hoarder, and their environment keeps them in the vicious cycle. And if you looked at some of the people that have hoarding tendencies, or straight up textbook hoarders, there is some sort of psychological problem that is going on. And if we could look at, is it medical, or is it spiritual, or is it both? And there's so many ways to tackle a problem. And what way does it feel good in your journey to do that? Because if there's something going on and your environment is causing you more stress, you're going to stay in that cycle. But sometimes it feels so overwhelming to get out of the cycle, but you got to break the cycle in some way. So what way do you want to attack it?
Yeah. I've noticed, so many conversations I've had either on the show or off the air, so to speak. Some of my colleagues here locally will talk about it and discuss it. Do you feel that there's a growing spiritual warfare going on? That there's this flux, there's this change happening. It's almost like somebody opened up the portal, the dark gates of hell or something.
Yeah.
That things are just so much craziness.
There
and
is craziness.
Disturbances. And people are asking, what is going on? What are your thoughts?
I've heard this before. I've channeled this before, but I've heard this also from other like channelers where it's like, this was back in 2018, and you'll laugh when the timing of it. So 2018, within 2 years, 1/3 of the world's going to wake up, 1/3's going to go crazy, and 1/3's going to die. And so what happened in 2020? We had a massive pandemic. Did 1/3 of the population die? No, but there were as many spiritual deaths that people had in terms of what they were experiencing. So there's that waking up part as well. And I do feel that there are people that don't have a grasp on reality. And so they're either choosing to leave or they're having a hard time being in their bodies. And so they feel like they're going crazy, even if they're not saying that. And as far as spiritual warfare, I think there is always some sort of spiritual warfare going on to some degree, and what that looks like. Because if you look at from a spiritual perspective, we are entranced and connected to different consciousness. So you have a collective conscious of, let's say, NFL football. And there is a consciousness that feeds that energy, and people that tune into football, people that get upset when they're watching football, they have a bad day if their team wins. Team loses, they have a great day if their team wins. There's this consciousness that is being fed by the people that watch that, participate in it, and everything. And we can go down the rabbit hole of all different types of consciousness. As the world, as humans, we tap into a main consciousness as well. And so there's all these different types of consciousness. And because of that, there are good things, negative things, and neutral things a part of the consciousness. But then there are lower vibrational frequencies that hop on certain consciousness to influence certain people and certain behaviors, and they prey on the weak. And it just depends on what you're consuming. So beware of what you're consuming. And if you're noticing, oh my God, I'm thinking too much about something, like, or I'm being entranced in a certain behavior, like it can get a hold of you, and it can start making you think differently. And I'm just hearing to use the example of like porn too. You can go down a rabbit hole of watching that and watching all sorts of degrees of that. Yeah. And all sorts of degrees have different consciousness attached to them as well. And depending on, what you're consuming is going to have a direct impact on the vibrational frequencies you're tapping into and they're tapping into you. And so I think to some degree, to go back to your question about like spiritual warfare, I think that there's a degree of ways how these lower vibrational frequencies will attack through spiritual warfare, through certain consciousness. And it's our job to recognize that we are whole, we are sovereign, we have the ability to say no, we have the ability to disconnect to certain consciousness, and we have the ability to stand fully in our power with oneness. And so that's up to us to decide. And it takes experiences and lifetimes and things like that to understand all of that and to clear karma as well, along the way as well. And because not every bad experience is directly because of a dark force. Bad experiences are meant for us to grow too.
Yeah. No such thing as failures or mistakes. You're just stepping stones and obstacles in order to push us to being better. It makes us who we are. Like I say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Absolutely. And I'll mention one thing. To me, I always choose to live in a kind and friendly universe. And so there are things that are going on, but I am not going to allow them to dictate my perception on life and my perception of my reality, because my reality is my reality and it's a choice. And so if I viewed everything as dark and that everything's attacking me and there's war everywhere, I'm going to have a really hard life.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we move further, because what we want to do, potentially a reading.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But before we do that, for those who are watching, they can see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen. But where can people find you and what they can expect when they go to your website?
Yeah, you can go to theamyrobeson.com. That's TheAmyRobeson.com. You can also do /free to get a free gift or sign up for a free Akashic Record Masterclass that's coming up here in September. I'm always offering something. I got a podcast. I have free gifts on my website. We have articles. We have all sorts of stuff. And we have our big masterclass series for the Akashic Records coming up. So you can sign up for that. It's a 10-day series where we do an ancestral healing, a group readings. We do a money clearing. We do a soul lineage healing. We talk a lot about the Akashic Records. It's absolutely free and it's 10 days and it's a really cool experience. It's called the Soul Evolution Extravaganza Masterclass series, because it's an extravaganza because I give away prizes and everything. So it's really fun.
That's cool. That's cool. Let's see. How do you want to do this?
Yeah, so I have the records open before I always hop on an interview, so we can hop right in. And you can ask any open-ended question. For anybody that's listening, anything that I share with Reverend Dr. Paul, if it resonates with you, keep it. Anything that doesn't resonate, leave it behind. And then I'll also generalize a message that's coming through based on some of the things that you're asking as well.
Yeah. Okay. Since time is not a linear thing in the quantum realm and stuff, and this will be broadcasting in January.
Okay.
So I'm putting that energy for that as far as the beginning of the year 2026. The energy revolved around Conscious Radio Network, this podcast, and where is it looking our direction in the beginning of the year? Okay,
so for your podcast, the Conscious Radio Network, or this specific podcast?
For the whole network. Yeah, Conscious Radio Network. And
do you own
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. They're saying it's important to button things up in the beginning of the year. So you can start working on stuff at the end of the year to start buttoning things up. And that's going to be like a phrase that you use. We need to button things up, meaning it's closing open books. So sometimes you have like projects that are open for a while and they just stay open, and you leave the book on the table and it's sitting there for months at a time. They're saying that's what they mean by buttoning up. Close the book. If the project isn't going anywhere, close the book, put an earmark. We'll come back to this later. It doesn't need to be left like an open tab on the computer. Like it needs to be buttoned up, meaning I'm putting closure on this for now. I can always come back to it later. Or I'm not coming back to this later. Or, okay, there's 3 things we need to do here. Let's do it. And we're done. This will get your creative juices flowing in terms of how do you want to button up for the end of the year, and what do you want to have in the beginning of the year that feels like a clean slate. Because the more that you give yourself permission to clean the slate, similar to what we were talking about earlier in terms of collective consciousness, there's a collective consciousness that feeds this energy that beginning of the year is new, fresh beginnings.
Yeah.
And so we get to participate in that consciousness. And by closing some things up at the end of the year, you'll have this momentum because of that collective consciousness. It's a new year. It's a new beginning. It's a new this, that you'll start getting fresh new ideas for what you're wanting to co-develop. They're wanting me to really emphasize co-develop, meaning there's other people part of the project. And what are some solo things that you want to do as well? And then the other thing is, what are your next level type of sponsorships that you want to get for Conscious Radio Network? And they're wanting you to just sit with that, because there's a ceiling that feels, it's a drop down ceiling, meaning you haven't reached the ceiling yet. You haven't reached what's capable. And I'm just seeing these illusions of all these ceilings.
Yeah.
That goes beyond just you for the network. It's for you as well. Like, it's, what ceiling have I placed on myself, and how can I just kind of allow myself to let go of the perception of that's the ceiling to, I'm wide open. Like, I am wide open for next level success. I am wide open for next level sponsorship. I am wide open for, and then you can fill in the blank on what that looks like. Because for anybody that's listening to this and you're like getting they're wanting to emphasize that to some degree, everybody puts a ceiling on one or more areas of where they can have success or fulfillment. And if you go to the next level and pretend there's no ceiling there, and you're in the vast desert, or you're in the center of the ocean, there is nothing but nothingness, but all oneness, because it's all connected. And every grain of sand, like if you're in the middle of the desert, or every drop of water, like there's so much there for support. And when you wash the ceiling out, meaning take the roof off, you're going to have this newer understanding of what's wanting to enter.
Yeah.
Questions about that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
I see it. I feel it. Definitely. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I've been working on some stuff, but working on so many different projects here and there. And then when it comes to button stuff up, it's okay. Like, even now I'm going, I do not want this to be dragging on till the end of the year.
Yes.
Get this done.
Yes.
Over with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're saying, like, this is just the kick you needed, like, to just go, okay, I got it. Cause now you have a very clear understanding of, this is when I want this done. This is when I want this done. And it's practical on how you want to manage the time around each thing. And if it takes only 5 minutes to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
Because it's not even worth waiting the next day. If you can just button it up right then, you're done. Call it a day. Anything else you want to ask?
As far as like the collective, as far as the overall planet in 2026, you see anything, any shifts happening, anything, different cycles?
Yeah, gotta always love podcast interviews because it's always different time frames. So I love that you're asking me about 2026, because I've been getting downloads already for the year. They're saying that as a collective, the divide in what is possible or what is impossible is going to become really clear. And what they mean by that is, some people do not see what is possible, and some people are going to just sit in their fears that the world is going to end. And that's a metaphor, is what they're saying. But the thing is, if you want your world, because they want to emphasize it's your world, your inner and outer world. If you want your outer world to change, your inner world has to adjust to what you want. And so start allowing yourself to resolve the inner conflicts, the lower vibrational thoughts, because your outer world will start to change. And you can do this by allowing yourself to speak to yourself in a way that's kind and friendly, allowing yourself to perceive the future as exciting, and talking about it as if you already have it, because you put yourself in a hypnosis state by doing so. But they're saying that, I've channeled this before and they're wanting me to say it again. Color frequency is going to be one of the most important things in 2026. And with the color frequency, the colors you wear, the colors you participate in directly impact how you feel. directly impact your perception. And so if you are missing a lot of orange out of your auric field, out of your body, there's an imbalance. You got to get orange in it, so that there's wearing orange, that's surrounding yourself with products that have orange colors on them. Maybe your shampoo has an orange label on it. Yeah. Maybe your dish soap has it. Maybe you eat orange foods, but there's color frequencies that have the ability to bring in the light spectrum of what is missing in your body, in your field, in your energy signature that requires. And it's going to be really important to recognize when colors actually create imbalances. If I'm super depressed, I like, if I wear black, it does not feel good on my body. Yeah. So it creates this like massive void. And when it comes to different colors, you can bring those in, because we are the rainbow and our chakras have the colors and all that stuff. And so we can bring those in. And they're saying, pay attention to the colors you're drawn to, because it's not going to be like one specific color all year. It's going to be this color for a specific season or a specific week or specific month. And it's going to shift throughout the year as well.
Huh. Wow. Now I go down a rabbit hole, because it's been, and when this broadcast, it might definitely see what transpires. But I'm sure you've probably heard of this. Go down a little bit of the rabbit hole, a little bit, is as far as cosmically, what's going on out there in space. This, was it 3-1 Atlas, this massive, they don't even know what it is. Avi Loeb thinks it's a ship that's 23 kilometers long, a couple miles long. Massive thing. Some say it's a natural rock traveling at 150-some thousand miles an hour, heading straight to the solar system. But
what
they're
is
making
it called again?
It's 3-1 Atlas.
I'm hearing to look at something so I can read it really fast. Read what my responsibility is to it. 3-1 Atlas. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
What I see on social media, I don't pay too much attention, put too much energy to it. You got people that using AI to create this massive spaceship photograph of it coming through the cosmos, but there are some images that have been captured through some of the satellites and telescopes and stuff, and it's massive. Yeah. Some are saying it's a craft, it's a spaceship. Some are saying it's an asteroid, massive one, and it's heading straight towards us. We don't know. It's supposed to be here. We're supposed to see something in November, I think it is. November, December. Don't know. But have you seen anything about this or picked up anything?
This is the first time I've actually heard of it. I'm not really. I do not read a lot of news or anything like that. So this hasn't popped into my feed, but now I know it's going to pop into a lot of my feed.
Now you're going to be like, oh man, what is this?
The Guardians are saying it's not what it appears to be. Let me ask what else they want to share. They just keep repeating it's not what it appears to be. There are many events that are always being orchestrated for the betterment of humanity. This particular event is opening the consciousness up to direct contact. And so it's not what it appears to be. And so they're not really answering in terms of what it is, but what they're sharing is what the benefit of what this event is, of how people are talking about what it is and speculating, everything like that. But what it's going to do is to prepare for the open contact that's eventually going to happen. We all know we're going to have open contact.
Oh yeah.
So that's happening. So this is just like that little tiny, here's another seed. Here's another way to comfort your humanness. Here's another little bit. And then meanwhile, there's groups that are like, we're ready to do it. But then there is not a lot of people that are actually ready for this. And so it's just it's part of the preparation process is what I'm getting for it. And I'm not getting what it is because they're not telling me. And that's just, it's not my business right now.
Some stuff is left alone. Or like, we're not supposed to know.
But it's just like they're saying it's all in preparation for, it's not what it seems to be. And it's all in preparation for direct open contact.
Yeah. And with today's technology, our knowledge, history, so much stuff in geological record there's so much, I wouldn't say proof, but there's so much data out there that and not only that, but just science from math, it just shows that we're not alone.
We're definitely
And
not alone.
and for us to be a species, especially a this conscious type species, for us to believe that we're alone is just, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's stupid. It's crazy. That would be, I call that ignorance.
We have stuff in our oceans. We have stuff like my first teacher, she said, we will be able to talk to aliens through the computer. And I remember sitting on my computer one day reading Facebook posts about all these people that are channeling aliens. And I just started laughing because at the time when she told me that, I was like, what? Okay, but what? And I'm like, oh, here it's happening, because we always have this perception of what we think it's going to be. And then it's so much more simpler. Yeah. It's so much more easeful. It's so much more better than what it usually turns out to be. And so in terms of the open contact, I'm curious what that looks like when it happens, because there's so many fears around like how Hollywood has shown open contact, and just even time itself and too. So it will be interesting. It will be very interesting. And I think it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And that's just it. Yeah. It's time.
And not only that, we know too much. We just know too much. As a collective, we just know way too much. Hollywood has, I don't know, spoiled us. Predictive programming. They're like, get ready.
And you can see it from that. You can see it from that perspective, and you can also see it from the perspective of, because there's many perspectives. You can also see it from the perspective of the writers channeling from different beings, or channeling from the Akashic Records, or tapping into a consciousness that wants to be birthed and wants to be shared. And there's so many things there. Yeah.
Oof. So we're getting close to the end here, and before we wrap up, what I like to do is ask all our guests on the show is to share a takeaway. If you have a takeaway to share, words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience.
Yeah, 2026 is going to either be your best year yet, or a year of growing. So you get to decide what it is. Or you can make it your worst year, but if you're growing, means you're taking the challenging experiences, the character building experiences, and allowing them to shape your new reality to where you're going. Because once we actually acknowledge the lesson and said, I get the experience, I get the lesson, we get to stop repeating the lesson. And what I have discovered with every new year, we always have this beautiful, exciting energy that this is going to be the best year yet. And then it just feels so intense.
Yeah.
And so the intensity is not going to stop. It's just going to become more familiar. And so give yourself permission to be okay with the unknown, and be okay with how quick things are moving, because they're going to start moving quicker and quicker and quicker. And you just got to make decisions, and you got to be okay with those decisions, and you got to keep moving while resting and doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. But trust the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something really quick too. I noticed something on your website. You're talking, or your one sheet, it mentioned activating DNA, or DNA activation. Yeah. Briefly describe that.
Okay, we have over 13 trillion cells in our body. Most of those cells hold DNA strands. Our job as humans, knowingly or unknowingly, is to activate your DNA. You can activate your DNA unconsciously through doing your spiritual work, meditation, going for a walk, being kind, fulfilling purposes, fulfilling contracts, working with crystals. There's all sorts of different things that you can do to activate your DNA all throughout your lifetime. We can't activate all of the DNA all at once, because you literally could not physically hold that much energy. And it would be a lot to process all at once as well. And what I've been shown, what I have been taught, is to purposely go in and activate 24 strands of DNA at a time and remove certain types of seals that were placed upon the DNA. When our consciousness fell, there was seals that were placed upon the DNA. Our DNA was tampered with. These seals were also placed upon the earth and placed upon the physical body grid to cause distortion, to cause certain physical ailments, also to cause distortion in lucid dreaming, distortion in our intuition, distortion in our ability to have complete unconditional love, distortion in certain types of knowledge, like from the Egyptian times, the Lemurians, Atlantis, things like that. There's also these seals that cause like religious guilt as well. The wrath of God is going to punish me for not doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, or something like that. And so we can go in and we can activate the DNA, remove these seals, and really cool things start happening just from purposely going in to activate it. Like I had a client that she instantly got a job promotion. I had another client that got rid of a toenail fungus. The last two activations, we did something with light language, and like my understanding of light language, even though I've been speaking light language for quite some time, like my understanding of light language completely shifted after that DNA activation. And so there's we clear DNA so you can either gain a gift, call forward ancestor gifts as well, or keep cleaning clear trauma from the DNA. And so it just depends on what that experience is for you based on the DNA strands that we're activating at that time. It's a really cool experience because it's hard to put into words, like how you experience it, because everybody experiences differently. And it's like you have these out-of-body experiences with it, and it's really neat.
Yeah. That's what I see, like these modalities that we have it's a rediscovery. It's ancient technology that I believe the Atlanteans were using, that we were all using millions of years ago. Not even on this planet, other planets, obviously. But it's this rediscovery that we are at a precipice of a complete overhaul, evolution of the human race.
Yes.
That we're a major not jump start, but we're
moving into Atlantis times again.
Yeah.
So our technology is speeding up really fast. Look at how much it's changed in the last 2 years.
Cool.
And what that looks like. The creator of ChatGPT, I watched an interview recently with him where he said that it's hard to even say what it's going to look like 5 years from now. And he's the creator.
Yeah.
Because that's how quick things are evolving.
He was surprised. Yeah, he was surprised just within 1 year what's done. And even Grok. Like Grok. Now it's Grok 5 or something like that. It is stupid awesome. What?
Our world is going to change right before our eyes. We chose to come in at this time. So get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the main thing is I was like reading a book from, I forget his name, but he hosts the Diary of a CEO. And he said something, and I'm probably not going to quote it exactly the way he said it in the book, but like the concept was 40 years from now, like people are going to be experiencing a year's worth of time in 15 minutes. That is a possibility. And so if you think about, if you do a past life regression, you're experiencing the past, and your previous self is experiencing the future.
Yeah.
And so time just goes whoosh, and then it's cleared. And so we already have been bending time and playing with time and doing all this stuff. So don't even get worried about it, because it's happening. It's happening. And then, so hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I always like to throw those curveballs out there every now and then for our audience, get them going, whoa, they're talking about what? So.
Good. And then since we were talking about this earlier, I mentioned that I have a free masterclass coming up in September, but I also have it in February. So if you want to join us in February, because I do it twice a year, it's a great one to do in the beginning of the year.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put that in our show notes when it goes broadcast. So cool. Amy, Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, my
Namaste. Thank
friend.
you so much.
Thank you very much. And let us know if there's anything else in the future that you would like to share with us, and anything that's coming up, a book, something big. So
there's a book coming.
There you go. Yeah. Cool.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
everybody, for
much.
watching the Seance podcast on Conscious Radio Network. Until then, we will see you next week.